Welcome to the Live Like Eden podcast. I'm your host, Lindsay, and I'm thrilled that you're here. Years ago, out of nowhere, I found myself in a radical shift in consciousness that took me over 20 years to fully wrap my head around. Yes, that's right. It took me a long time, and without any warning, down the rabbit hole of darkness I went. Now I'm here to share with you all the insights of awakening, spirituality, health, the energetic world we're living in, and my absolute favorite topic, just how crazy the ego mind can be. These subjects are designed to help you understand the awakening process, to open your mind, and prepare you for your own unique spiritual journey toward inner peace. So I invite you to sit back, relax, and enjoy today's discussion. Before we get started with today's show, I want to share with you something I've been working on. I have created a quiz just for you to see where you are on your own unique spiritual path. Everybody loves a quiz, right? You can go to my website at livelikeeden.com, click on the quiz pop-up, and answer 10 quick questions. You'll get an immediate response emailed to you with your results, a personalized podcast playlist including 5 Live Like Eden episodes that will offer you assistance where you currently are. And I've also thrown in a few bonus episodes that you'll receive a few days later. If you're a spiritual junkie, you're in the midst of awakening, or you're simply curious where you might be in your own spiritual process, check it out and feel free to share with your friends who might be interested too. Hi, everybody. Welcome back to another episode. Do you ever turn the television on and scroll through all the different media stations and you kind of notice a theme? And the theme is everybody is saying the same thing. No matter what station, no matter where you go, all of the newscasters really repeat the same phrases. And you could look at this globally too. It was really evident during the pandemic. Very evident. Everyone around the world is saying the same exact thing. Now, if you're somebody who likes to think freely, or you're into critical thinking, or you have an open mind, you might cock your head a little to the right and think, what the hell is that? Right? All of these people think the same, or rather, are they just reading a script, and who wrote the script? Who's writing these scripts that every time we turn on social media or the news or anything really, it doesn't even matter. It could be medical information. It's everywhere. In whatever community you're in, the talking points and the main themes and the narratives and agendas are so blatant. It's like it's this way or that way. There's no room to have a discussion about anything anymore. Like if you were to question some main theme out there today, if you were to question any of the major agendas or just ask questions about history, how did this war really go down? Or how is the environment really changing? Who is giving us the information? Are there opposing views or other thinkers out there that are being silenced that we do not hear? It just seems odd that there's such a universal language and everyone's saying the same thing. Now, I don't know about any of you, but when I sit down to the dinner table with my family, everybody has their own perception. And there's a lot of chatter. People have their own opinions. My kids have different opinions. My husband and I may have a different opinion. We all are thinking freely. Isn't that what the American society anyway was based on? It's free speech, liberty, and the right to have it, the right to share it. This is what a healthy public discourse would be, that it's okay to have a different opinion. I respect your opinion, but I have a different one. And somebody over there might have a completely different insight on whatever the topic of discussion is. That's critical thinking. It's like an open forum of ideas. But when ideology gets in the way and everybody attaches to things and groups and parties and all this stuff, it's like an ideologue, and then you're just grabbing a hold of it and you have no room to listen to any other voice anywhere else. It's getting squashed. The critical thinkers are getting silenced. Is that on purpose? What do you think? Is it on purpose? Isn't it a little odd that we only hear so much information when I believe there's probably lots of other alternative ideas and free thinkers out there that are not being heard? So today, we're going to talk about the rebellion against the shallow. And when I say shallow, I mean the shallow content of information that is out there today. The idea that everything in front of us is a 5-second clip of somebody doing something ridiculous is entertainment. You know? And we're going to look at how to choose authentic voices, how to choose your own authenticity over the algorithm that is dominating what we see on the internet. First, I want to go over the controlled structure of public opinion. And for anybody that doesn't know anything about this or you don't believe that it's controlled, I've spent over a decade looking into this stuff, and it really is interesting to kind of deep dive and see what's behind all of this. Is there an agenda, and who's funding it? What's one of the oldest phrases out there? Follow the money, right? Follow the money chain. Follow it all over the place. So we're going to look at the controlled structure of public opinion, and then I want to look at just the surface level content. All the content out there stays on the surface. Why is that? And then lastly, how do we rediscover our own authenticity? How do we trust other people and who's truly authentic and who is a paid talking head? How do we do that? So let's get into this today. And as always, the show is designed to pull you back into your own innate spiritual wisdom, that inner guide that's sitting within you. So I'll pull it back there towards the end of the show. But first, let's talk about the controlled structure of public opinion. I want you to think about something for a minute. When you get online or you go through the news or you look at social media, and it always seems like there's selective outrage over a certain incident. And then the media just blows up the outrage. It doesn't matter what you think politically. It doesn't matter what your ideology is or what your personal beliefs are. I just want you to think about it on the whole. It seems that there's always some incident and then there's a huge outcry, right? This side's going crazy and everybody's repeating the same things over and over, and these people are up in arms. And then there's campaigns all over social media, hashtag this, put this badge on your name, blah, blah, blah. Now, have you ever thought that that's by design? Because when outrageous things happen, people get what? They get mad. And when they get mad and emotions rise and they want change, what do? They join the bandwagon. It's easy. I'm going to join the movement. I'm going to hashtag this too. Meanwhile, what is the algorithm doing? The algorithm is collecting information. It's collecting information on all of us. It can see exactly how we lean. It can see exactly what we think. And what does this do? It's teaching the algorithm about us. It's educating the AI, right? Like we don't even know this is happening, but we are educating the AI, and it's pulling more data and more data. And then, as you know, anytime you look at something, what happens? You get like 500 more videos on that specific topic. It might be helpful for you to throw the algorithm off a little bit and start searching for some random thing, and just confuse it. And then it doesn't really know you. What I'm getting at here is whoever is controlling this whole thing, whether it's the government, whether it's people we don't even know, whoever it is, they are identifying every little detail about the public, putting us in little isolated containers and boxes, and labeling us. You guys know identity politics. It's crazy. You got to put everybody in a tiny little box and label everybody. We got to get to those groups instead of just saying, hey, we're all human. Like we're all human beings. We're all here doing the same damn thing. We really are. No matter what color you are, no matter what your background is, no matter what socioeconomic background you have, what your childhood was like, we're all here. We're all in this big melting pot together. But the controllers, whoever is trying to keep us conflicted, whoever is trying to keep us apart and divided, right? Because they do a really good job of it, because they fuel outrage all the time. All you got to do is post a little video on the media, and what happens? Everybody's in total panic, complete and total meltdown mode. No one has time to even think about it, let it simmer for a minute. Let's hear some real critical thinking. Let's hear from all kinds of different opinions and free thinkers out there. No, you get one event and you get this opinion and that opinion, and that's it. And it just feels shallow, which is the whole point of this show. The shallowness. How do we work against the shallowness? How do we flip the script? The scripts that are being thrown on us that we don't even know. It's like a public theater. Several years ago, I started just doing a lot of research on manipulation and propaganda and how the government uses all of these different tactics to control public opinion. Things like paid influencers on social media, on all sides of the aisle. And the ways that they sway public opinion are through what? Paid influence operations, psychological operations, propaganda narratives. And it's all designed to control the masses. And it works, right? It's worked throughout history. I mean, even before the internet and before the computer, like back in World War I and II, they used to what? Fly planes over those cities and drop flyers down to the public below them and put information on there to morph that area's opinion of whatever was happening in the world. If you just picked a flyer up off the street and read it and it was some fearful tactic, you'd probably freak out, right? Your first instinct would be to go, oh my God, we're all going to die. You just would. As a human, you just kind of react. But is there a controlled operation going on there? Who is trying to win a war? Who is trying to regain power? Who is trying to profit? What's this all about? Usually it's about money and power and control. It's like it just flips back and forth all the time throughout history. So when you're on social media and you see an account that's got, oh, wow, this person, who are they? They just came out of nowhere and there's like 500,000 followers already. And look at all these comments. And there's a lot of infighting going on in the comments. And you kind of have to ask, is that real? Are they real followers? What about bots? How do you know it's a real person? Everybody knows there's bots. How do you know if a bot is in there to start controversy, to start conflict, or to attack the person saying something? Maybe they're trying to attack the person that's actually being authentic and true, and they're trying to spark sort of an outrage against this person. I mean, you would have no idea, right? This is what's so frustrating, is it's making the public not trust anything. It's making the public not trust the media. It's making the public not trust anyone speaking about anything. And then what happens when you do that? You don't care. You don't want to be part of it. You just go live your life. And that's by design. They don't want us to stay involved. They don't want us to learn how our voices can actually be heard. They don't want us to learn how the government really works. Like, how do the courts really work? Do we really still have rights? How would we go about changing anything? I mean, we've just been talked at for so many decades, and we've been uneducated on what's really going on that we don't really know, and then we don't want to participate. And then when you don't participate, what happens? They have all the control, and they'll just keep doing the division. They'll keep the infighting going. You'll lose complete trust in any source that you see. And that's when tyranny comes in. When you don't trust anything, that's when they can just totally take over. So it's really an interesting thing. I've thought about this for so many years. I think about it all the time when you only see certain celebrities speaking, when you see famous people or media heads, why are they all saying the same damn thing? Even if they believed it, they wouldn't say those exact words. You know what I mean? It's like, who's writing these scripts? And why do they want to keep the public so divided? Because they can come in and conquer. You can't get along, so we'll just come in and solve the problem for you because you don't know how to do it. It's a tactic that's been used for thousands of years, I believe. It's just something that is just being played out over and over and over again. And it's really obvious today with the internet and the social media campaigns and AI and the whole data collection of every single one of us. So the next time you turn on your favorite news program or whatever you do, or even just listening to the radio, I mean, I've noticed the basic radio station, they only cover surface topics. Like there is no depth on the radio, like they're just talking about sex and crazy scenarios and, just lighthearted stuff. But there's literally nothing below the surface. It's always really interesting to me. They just kind of keep you entertained. right? Just keep them entertained, keep lulling them to sleep. Do you ever look at it like that? Like we're just being lulled into a long, deep sleep and we're not waking up from it. It's like we're in a trance. And you could look at it like that. When you keep listening to other voices and you're putting all of your power into other people, what they're saying, again, it's like you're handing over your own inner authority. And I've had shows on this and just letting other people tell you how to do things, tell you what's going on. And it's like this rhythmic trance like state. Oh, okay, that's what's happening. Uh huh, uh huh. And you can just kind of feel it. Even as I'm speaking, I can just kind of feel myself going into that space of, uh huh, okay, like a zombie. So it's kind of an interesting thing, and you can spend a lot of time looking into this, but it really doesn't take a lot to just use your own eyeballs and see for yourself. You can do a lot of research and read books and all this stuff about how they control public opinion, but you can see it for yourself. And I always encourage you on this show to really trust yourself. Use your own questioning of everything you're seeing and start wondering. Like I always talk about finding that curious child. This could actually be a creative activity, to just get really curious, open up and be like, wow, interesting. This person's saying this and it sounds the same. And this group over here is saying the exact same talking points and they're labeled as, this group. You know what I'm talking about. It's everywhere. We can't just be free people, or can we? I still believe we can. I hope that this show is leading us there, this rebellion against this shallow life, this surface, monotonous, scrolling, looking at nonsense is just making us complete and total zombies. So now let's go into surface level content. What is the name of the game in social media? It's clickbait, or even on the internet. It's just click this, click, click. I can get all this traction. I mean, it's just nuts. I mean, you could see a headline that's not true, could be completely false, but it sounds so outrageous. There's that, ooh, look at that headline. Now I'm angry. Click. You know, it's like there's the data. They're pulling the information. Oh, that person clicked, got that. We know that they are what? Ruled by emotion, right? Most of us are. It's kind of interesting when you look at headlines. Most of those headlines usually aren't even true, but they're just designed for clickbait. And then there's viral, the videos that go viral. What are these videos even about? Sometimes it's just nonsense. I mean, yes, I would say that some stuff is just funny for comic relief, but a lot of it is just silly. When you get into that mode where you're only doing that and just looking at this all the time, and it's a form of escape, right? It's kind of like a drug. There is a psychology behind all of this. When you're talking about psychological warfare and psyops that the government uses or the intelligence agencies use, you don't think they've studied the psychology of our minds for centuries? How does the human mind operate? And without awareness, this is the key, and this is where I'm going to pull it today, is without awareness, you get lulled to sleep. It's when you have that observer where you tap into the field of awareness is when you can notice it. You can notice what you're doing. But when you're not aware of it yet, they've got you. They've got you exactly where they want you. As I put out shows and I write blog posts and all that, it's really hard to get any traction anywhere. I'm literally a one-woman show. I've gone through the depths of hell, had my own shift in consciousness, and just want to share with other people and help them. Because it's a very real thing that happens to people. And there's not a lot of discussion on it. So I thought, hey, I'm just speaking from my own experience. I'm speaking from my heart. And if you end up writing too much or you go into depth too much, what happens today? Because people are so used to reading bullet points or they don't have time. But I think it's something deeper. I think that this algorithm has trained the public to only have a very small attention span. They have 15-second reels, 15-second clips, 15-second very simple words too. Nothing of depth, nothing with huge vocabulary. No grammar, right? None of it. Language has been completely destroyed. So now it's like that robot. We're just like robots. Okay, I got my bullets. Okay, click. You see where I'm getting at? Language is beautiful. It's so beautiful. And I don't know about any of you, but I still believe in the beauty of the written word. And to me, in the way that I feel language or feel writing, it almost feels like a music composition. Like if you're ever writing out a sentence, there's a rhythm to it. And you can just hear the rhythm. Ba ba da ba ba da ba ba. It's kind of like, Shakespeare, I think, wrote an iambic pentameter. Today, it's like, nope, you need 3 words. That's it to get anybody's attention. It's like, what the hell? Are we really turning into this dumbed down society? It's happening, especially the younger generations, because they've all grown up with the screens and the phones and the scrolling and the social media and texting. People that text and there's still real quick. And I get it. It's quick. You don't have a lot to say, but I'm kind of old school. I still write a message like I'm writing an actual letter and putting it in the mailbox and sealing it with a stamp. You know? There was something very cool and exciting about that. It was like writing a letter. Ooh, I'm so excited to get it. It's going to be 2 weeks until it arrives. Now we can't get enough information fast enough, right? Like, kids today, if you don't respond to them in like a second, they're like, hello, mom, what are you doing? My kids will literally call me, text me. I'm like, hello, I'm tied up. I cannot get to the phone. Can you just leave me a message like we used to do? You know? But it's all by design. It's to keep us in these little boxes, stripped away of any authenticity or creativity, like I did on last week's show, and just become these very surface level beings. And maybe that's okay for some people. Maybe it is. Maybe it's perfectly fine. But if you're listening to this show and you listen regularly, you're not. I know you're not. You're looking for something much deeper in your life. You're looking for this connection to your true essence and to use that true essence when you connect with other people. Isn't that what this is all about? When you start waking up from the nonsense, you're tired of it. I'm tired of the bullshit. I just want to connect on that level with somebody else. Turn off the noise. When we are so distracted with constant headlines, and these headlines change instantly, don't they? Think about how quickly we see information and how quickly a story grows, and then all of a sudden it's gone, and then they're on to the next thing, just keeping us distracted with the next thing, the next thing. Oh, because they don't want you to remember that last thing, you know? And again, it's all for ratings. It's all for viewership. It's all backed by money. An authentic voice that just wants to share information is going to get squashed by the algos, aren't they? They just are. That's the way that the system is set up right now. Another thing to point out when you're scrolling and looking endlessly at social media is people that are reciting information, and maybe it's historical evidence or, like conspiracy theories and things like that. Well, I personally would dive into anything. I don't care if it's a conspiracy or not, because I find it interesting, and then I'm going to discern for myself. Gee, I don't know. At the end of the day, do you ever really know the truth of anything that has ever occurred? Like, I don't know. I'm at the point in my life where it's like, I don't know. I'm just remaining open. I don't know for certain. Unless I was there, unless we were all there, especially when you receive historical data from like hundreds of years ago. Who writes the history books, right? Who wrote those books? Usually the victor of every single war. Well, what was the other side's point of view? Our historians will say those people were horrible beings. They were atrocious, and we had to come and save the day. And of course, if we hear it from that vantage point, we believe that. Any information you receive that sounds legitimate, you're like, well, of course. We all have hearts. It's like, oh my gosh, yes, we need to come to the rescue. How do you know that that was really what was going on? When we don't ever hear multiple viewpoints of anything, it just makes you think it's all driven to just take a side and keep critical thinking out of the public discourse, because we can't have a populace with critical thinkers. you we can't have a populace questioning our narratives and putting an end to everything that's ever been, right? That's what would be in question. The power structure could crumble. I mean, that may not be a bad thing, you know? It may not. Maybe we'd actually be in a freer society than we are right now. People that think, well, we are, we're living in a free society. I'm like, I don't know. I mean, if you can't even speak today without a group of people literally wanting to kill you because they're so rooted in one way of thinking, I mean, what is that? You don't even want to say anything. That's all by design. Keep them fighting, keep everybody fighting. When, if you go out in your daily life, just walk around your local community. And I do this a lot. I'm just walking around wherever I'm going in town, and everyone seems quite pleasant. I don't see any infighting. I don't see anybody being outwardly aggressive or treating somebody horribly. I mean, occasionally you might run into that, but I don't see it. I just don't. You know, you go travel all over the world, go to all the major international airports, and everyone's just walking through the airport. Nobody seems to be battling it out. Yet if you turned on the television and you get on social media, it looks like everyone hates each other. I'm not sure that's true. It's not adding up. I've spoken about this before in many other episodes, but it's like when you read something or see the online community, which again, it's just in the ether, right? It's not even out in the public. But let's just say you see all these comments and these, people that are battling it out online, and maybe there's bots, right? Maybe they're not even real people making it look like everyone's against each other. Yet you go in your life and everything's sort of fine and everyone's flowing fine. No one's screaming at each other. The vibration that's being put out online is not matching what's happening when you walk down the city street. They're completely different. And I get it. Maybe there are communities that do have that. Even if you travel a lot and you just go around, I mean, just think to yourself, do I see infighting all over the place? Like, it's probably pretty rare, right? But when you get online, you're being made to believe that it's everywhere and everyone's just battling and in an outrage constantly. I'm not sure that's the case, and you can test it for yourself. So this surface level content that just keeps coming out, these videos about nonsense designed to keep you looping and disconnected from your spiritual wisdom, right? Completely disconnected from your own critical thinking, your own ability to decipher and discern information on your own, and to make a decision freely for yourself. With all of this going on all the time, that's what's being hidden. That's what's being blocked. And that's why it's shallow. you know, there's no depth. And it seems as if there's a purposeful campaign and agenda to keep the human populace hidden from their own spiritual connection and their own spiritual power. If you have a population of people that respect one another, that are willing to listen to other opinions, that truly have an open mind, and treat each other with respect no matter what the other person is thinking, instead of ideologies and campaigns and parties and all this stuff. If you have a population of billions of people that are really tapping into their own inner knowledge and wisdom, then that system begins to crumble, and that's a huge threat to the agenda. So how do we rediscover who the heck is authentic? How do you know if you're getting information from somebody who's telling you the truth or not? How do you know they're not being paid a lot of money just to push a narrative that is driven by something larger than they are? They may not even know it. That's the other thing. Are they a puppet, completely unaware that the system that is running everything is controlling them? Some people may not even know it. Everybody needs money. A lot of people will do anything for money. What do you want me to do? Just push this narrative? Sure. I'll take the paycheck. So how do you know if somebody's authentic or not? I don't know. Look at who sponsors them. Look at those companies that sponsor different influencers, celebrities, all the people that get airtime or major followings. Do a little research like, what is this company about? Why would they want this narrative out there? And you just kind of trace it. Where's the money going? What would be the motivation or the agenda behind it? And you can just ask this in your own mind. You can do searches, or you can just think about it and wonder, how do I know? But anytime you start seeing people using the same campaigns, the same talking points, that's typically a red flag. At least it is to me. I'm not somebody who jumps on the bandwagon really of anything very quickly. I just don't. I don't know. I want to think about that before I just hit click. And that's what they want you to do. They want you to just click. Again, remember, collecting data, collecting information, keeping you from accessing that large creative power of critical thinking that you do have. You might look for people who don't have any sponsors. They're just speaking freely. They are using their own opinion. Maybe they encourage you to use your own opinion. They're not suggesting that you follow them, or they're not suggesting that you buy something from them. Maybe they're an expert in a certain field and they're just offering insight for other people, but they don't have a huge backing. They don't have lots of ad campaigns or anything like that. Probably somebody who's just really sharing. I would always question when you're being thrown certain algorithmic things. It's probably got some kind of controlled operation to it. Because if the algorithm is really designed to feed you information that the agenda wants you to see, it's not going to pull you some independent thinker that has nothing behind them. It's just not. So you can think about that. The other thing to do is cut the amount of time that you're on all of this stuff. Get away from social media for a while. And when you're on it, use your own discernment. Question it. And if you ever find yourself looking on the phone and you set the phone down, watch how quickly your hand will go back to that phone. I watch myself do it. Look at that. It's like an addiction, grabbing the phone, scrolling. You talk about an amazing stunt. When you think about it, how do you get a population so addicted to the screen, and then you could pump out any kind of information you want them to believe or inform them about, and they will see it because we're all so used to grabbing the phone and looking at it. It's very smart if you have an agenda or a motive behind it. I don't think it just happened by chance. I'm sure it's all by design. Now, having said that, I think the phone is amazing. I think that there's so many wonderful things that we have about technology. The thing I question is who's controlling it? Is there a shift happening right now where we're decentralizing everything and getting the people back to their own independence? And one of the areas this is really happening is in money, the whole invention of Bitcoin. If any of you have really learned about that, I mean, that whole system is really saying, hey, these central bankers that have been around for over, 100 years or however long, it's crooked. The whole operation is crooked. And right now, people always go, well, it's digital money and it's not backed by anything. Well, it's backed by thousands of computer nodes all over the world solving a mathematical equation to make sure that that transaction is accurate or not. That's a lot of backing. And if anybody's interested, just go do research into Bitcoin. It's pretty cool. I mean, I'm always thinking how neat it would be if you're your own bank. That's essentially what Bitcoin is. You're your own bank. There's no possible way to devalue it because there's only 21 million Bitcoin ever created. So, they're not going to devalue it, just like the Federal Reserve printing money, devaluating the dollar every day. Now the dollar's worth nothing and prices are through the roof. If you're your own bank, you're your independent bank. You don't need a banker. You've got all of your money on your phone and you can send transactions to whomever you wish whenever you want to. Nobody is overseeing it. And it's also on a public ledger, so you can actually look and see every transaction that's ever been made on the Bitcoin blockchain. This is not a show about Bitcoin, but I'm just giving an example of how there are centralized structures that seem to be decentralizing. And this goes along with finding your own authenticity, finding that individual independence again, as opposed to handing everything over to the central agenda or authority or the algorithm. Another way to know if you're hearing from somebody that's truly authentic is in the way that they present themselves, in the way that they speak. Does it seem like it's from the heart? Does it seem like there's something behind this person? Like, are they speaking from a real place of experience? Or are they talking at you? There's such a difference between somebody who's speaking from their own life and their own ideas, maybe their own understanding and insights on certain things, and this could be anything in the world that they have experienced. Then there is the person who is just talking at you, blah, 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 blah. You got to do this. You got to do it this way. You got to blah, blah, blah. I mean, oh my God, my head's spinning. It's pretty obvious when people are genuine. At least I think it is. I would always encourage anybody listening to really just go into your own intuition. Listen to your inner voice. What is the vibe you're picking up from whatever information you're receiving? What do you feel from this person? Is it my head thinking it because I've been told certain things about this person in front of me? Or is it a real feeling that I have? Your intuition is your strongest communicator. Your intuition is your guide. For example, you could think you're trusting your intuition, but somebody else is actually telling you that. So when you're going in on your own intuition, just turn everybody off, no matter who they are, friends, family, therapist, whoever. Just turn them all off for a minute and go inward and say, what is it that I am feeling? What is it that I'm picking up? We get so flooded with everybody else's opinion and everybody else's insight that we lose our own. So making time for that silent space within, turn it off. And I said this last episode, learn to turn off, to disconnect from the noise, to learn to trust yourself again, to learn your own authenticity. By doing this, you're also establishing a connection with your spiritual wisdom. You're connecting to the field. You're connecting to your inner guidance. Whatever you believe, whatever faith you have, whatever spiritual practice you have, it's really up to you. It's up to you to create it, to create that connection within. That is your guiding light. Through everything you experience in the world, that is the driver. If you allow that inner light to guide you, get your mind out of it. Let the mind take a break. You know, the mind really does need rest, right? Give the mind a little time out or put the mind in the penalty box. Don't listen to it. Use that inner wisdom. Let that lead you in your life, and your whole world will change. When you're in that space and it's within you, it opens up so vast and so broad. The door opens into this realm of possibility. When you just scroll and look at headlines and click, and they're collecting data on you, and there's this huge controlled structure, right? It keeps us from that vast field of possibility. There truly is infinite possibilities for anything. You could experience something so differently if you choose to. It's all how we see it. It's all how we're viewing it. And the more that you allow your mind to open, the more you allow yourself to hear other voices, other opinions, and respect everybody in the process, you really do become that free thinker. You're that independent person. You're the sovereign person. What would be wrong with a society of independent thinkers? No groups, no structures, no agendas, just independent thought, independent voices, bringing their expertise to the table and working together to make things happen. If you cut out all the nonsense and the outrage and the control that we're under, can you imagine how this world would operate? It would be so different, right? I'm not suggesting it would be a utopia. There would still be arguing, there would still be opposition, but it may be a little bit better, right? It might be more manageable. We might actually be happy. So the next time that you get on the internet, maybe put on a new set of glasses. Instead of thinking that everything you're seeing is true, try questioning what you see in front of you. Try discerning information. Try thinking about the hidden agenda behind the surface level content that's being thrown in your face. And that is the point of this show. The rebellion against the shallow content. The rebellion against the machine that's trying to make us into these dumbed down human beings with no intellectual capacity, right? There's so much more within us, that deeper connection to our spiritual self that could be utilized in public discourse. It could absolutely be guiding the entire thing. But right now, it's like we're under a spell. It seems like that. When you start waking up a little bit, it's like the Matrix, you start waking up a little bit more, a little bit more. And as much as they want you to disconnect from the entire thing and not care so they can keep control, flip the script. How could you actively help in your local community to make change? Right? Because it's very hard to go on the national or the global level. Where do we start? We start with our family. We start with our friends. We start with our local communities. That's where it starts. If everybody's doing that in their own area, right there, that's a huge shift. And that's authentic. And that's real because it's in front of your face. It's right there. You can see it happening. You can work with other people. You can connect with them. Screaming online at each other, what does that do? It just makes you more pissed off, right? It's a waste of your time. And when we have a lot of people that are truly using their own authenticity, when we have so many of those people that really truly care and want to share, and it's from this very loving, genuine place, it spreads. I don't think people realize today how much we're actually starving for true connection with people, not just online, not through just text, not through sending videos and all this crap, but actually connecting with a human being again. I mean, even when you have a question about a product you buy, you don't even get a person. You can't even call the company. You can't call and talk to anybody. You got to go through 15 million questions and answers. Did this help? And I'm like, no, I need to talk to someone. Maybe if people would start realizing what's happening and enough people start connecting with their own innate wisdom and their own voice again and recognizing others who are doing the same thing, that things would really start to shift. That society would actually rebuild itself into something that might work, at least temporarily. There's one thing that is kind of interesting. Whoever all of these power structures are that control public opinion and control the system that we see, why can't we use the internet to flip the whole thing? Why can't we flip it into something that's true? Why can't we flip it and hand it over to the independent individuals living all over the globe? I mean, the tool is there. The internet isn't a bad thing. It's only bad when it's controlled. But what if it were open? What if it becomes a true marketplace of ideas, no matter what those ideas are? Then things will shift. Then the whole thing flips completely upside down, and we start paving the way into a brand new world. And I don't know about any of you, but I think there's enough of us out there that are tired of all of this. We really are. We want to see a shift. We're tired of being treated like we're idiots. We're tired of not being heard. We're tired of seeing the same damn voices over and over and over again. The more and more people that start questioning, the more and more people that wake up to their own critical thinking, the more and more people that wake up to their true self with a capital S, the better chance for change. And all it takes is just one person at a time. So I hope this show makes you think about what you're looking at. I hope this show gives you some insight and the tools to just start analyzing, questioning, and discerning the information that's pulling up in your algorithm and taking the time to shift from algorithm to authenticity. That'll wrap up today's show. Until next time, I invite you to check out my website at livelikeeden.com. You can sign up for a weekly email reminder when my new podcast and blog comes out, which is every Wednesday. If you are struggling with your own awakening process and you need further assistance or guidance, you can also sign up for a free consult, and I would be more than happy to work with you. If you're enjoying the show, I ask that you share it with others that you think it might benefit. Until next time, thank you so much for listening.